Hello there. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Today's episode, I'm going to be completely honest, is really random. But to start off, we've got a few new names we got to add to the list. But as of right now, I realize I'm kind of lacking a lot of variety of blocks to actually build and expand my base with. And so I wanted to do a lot of preparation to be able to farm a wider variety of blocks for my block palette so I can have lots of different themed builds and different colors and whatnot. And of course, one of the biggest farms I wanted to get done is a automatic wool farm, so I didn't have to go through and manually shear all the sheep. And since wool obviously has the 16 different colors, that expands our block palette by a lot. And especially with this new upcoming update in 26.3, once I'm able to upgrade it, we can have those wool stairs and slabs, which will definitely expand our building capacity because we've never had colored stairs or slabs before. So it'll be nice to have a better variety of decoration for future builds in this world. But with that, these are all our new names. Thank you all so much for subscribing. But to officially start off the episode, one of my main goals is to get all the varieties of villagers so I can maximize the amount of blocks I can actually acquire from these villagers, as some blocks are only obtainable on a flat world from villagers, especially with like colored terracotta. Colored blocks are going to be in very short supply, so I really want to get a villager for every terracotta block, which masons have a chance of selling one of them, and so I just need to get lots of villagers bred up. And so this next portion, I hope you enjoy the most frustrating 45 minutes of my life as I try to get the cured villagers over to the actual trading hall. I was trying to get just the toolsmith for now because I know he had super cheap trades. I want to start moving the good villagers over, and so this took an incredibly long time. Like, it was so incredibly frustrating to try to get them over there. Eventually I got the toolsmith and the armor into minecarts, and then I started transferring them over to the actual trading hall. And even once I got them over there, that still took me like, I don't even know, like 20 plus minutes to get them in their little pen, holding cell, whatever you want to call it. And it was just a nightmare. Like, this clip is literally on like 3,000% speed, and it just took, it was just a nightmare. I don't know why villagers AIs is like the most frustrating mechanic in this entire game, and it was just insane. Like, it was so ridiculous how long this actually ended up taking. And yeah, I got him in the thing, and then I decided to push him into minecart anyways. Who knows? I don't know. I just work here. Luckily I got this other one in a minecart a while ago, and he was just kind of sitting there waiting to be moved around, so he was pretty easy to get in there. But that toolsmith, man, he was really getting on my nerves by the end there, because he did not for the life of him want to go get in his stupid little cell. I mean, I guess I can understand, because he's gonna be trapped in there for the rest of eternity, but hey, gotta do what you gotta do. But continuing right along after that very frustrating experience with those villagers, I came up with this very simple wool farm design that tries to maximize the amount of grass underneath the sheep. So what it does is all this dirt grows into grass, and then the sheep sit in these little 1x1s, but I place walls so that their hitboxes go over top of the grass block underneath the walls, so that there's technically 2 blocks of grass underneath them, so it creates a higher chance for them to actually regrow their wool, or it's basically twice as fast because there's going to be a bunch of sheep actually in there. And so once they're all in their pens, like you see here, I put obviously shears in all the dispensers, and then a hopper minecart. I actually pushed the dirt over top of the hopper minecarts, and then a hopper directly underneath them, feeding into the chest, so that whenever the wool falls on the ground, it's collected by the hopper minecart and then immediately transported to the hopper and then to the chest. And then I decided to just kill off the rest of the brown sheep, because I didn't want, obviously, to risk entity cramming with the sheep. And then I had to breed up some more pink sheep because I only had like 4, and so I had to wait a little bit on those to actually get them in their little pen. And unfortunately right now I only have white, brown, pink, and red sheep, which I totally want to get more and probably should, but I just am too lazy apparently and to get it done. But when I was farming my iron, as you can see, I actually found a wandering trader that just happened to spawn in my cave, which is kind of insane because I don't know how that was even possible because it's like all spawn proof. We actually had blue ice, which was major, and so I bought some blue ice for later because I knew I would need it probably for item transportation later in the future. But for now, my goal here is I want to get rid of this ugly piece of garbage mob farm and build a much more effective design. And so I was really hoping that I could just light the whole thing on fire since pale moss is super flammable, in hopes that it would remove it much faster. But for some reason it didn't want to burn at the bottom, and so I decided to jump to the top and just light the whole thing up. But even then it like didn't want to do much, so I started just blowing up the creepers to remove it because I didn't want to break it all, even though it was all insta-mine with a diamond hoe. But eventually I got this whole thing removed, despite the fire doing absolutely nothing for me. It didn't take too long. I wanted to build it with pale moss because I knew that pale moss is super easy to break, and so it'd be super easy to remove later on. And so this new design I wanted to use is actually a design, I don't even know who it was designed by, but it's so old. It's one of those that's just one of those original designs that everybody uses. Just kind of one of those oldie but goldie designs. I don't remember who designed it. It's just so old that you don't even know anymore. But it's the kind that has the little catcher at the bottom where all the water is, so it flows all the way to the middle, and then it has all those diamond shaped platforms going all the way up that dispensers go down the line and observers activate the dispensers, so then it can send all the mobs off the platform into the catcher whenever your desired redstone clock length goes off, which obviously makes for some pretty great rates because once all of the spawn places are limited to just your platforms, it spawns a lot of mobs. And here, this is something super awesome that I actually call the reverse MLG bucket. Yeah. So moving on like nothing happened. I went to go build all these platforms and realized I didn't have enough mud to finish all the platforms. I decided to actually use some jungle wood to add some personality to it because one, save mud, and two, it would just be a little more interesting than just a bunch of mud brick platforms. And so I finished up making all the spawning platforms and went ahead and started on the roof, which would create enough cover so that the spawning platforms could be at a light level of 0, so the mobs could actually spawn. Otherwise the farm would be kind of useless. And so I did the same kind of design with a mud brick outline with a jungle wood interior, and ultimately I think this ended up looking pretty good. I mean, for a mob farm, you're never really going to get anything super crazy with a mob farm. But of course, this thing ended up being in a stupid slime chunk, which I'm getting so sick of slime spawning everywhere. I don't know what to do because they literally spawn everywhere, and it's so hard to actually stop slimes from spawning because they spawn literally everywhere, regardless of light level, regardless of weather, regardless of time of day. And it's really making me regret not making my world height just above the slime spawn range. And after getting my farm up and running, I actually managed to find a zombie villager chicken jockey spawn. And so I really wanted to cure it and get a villager jockey so then it'll grow up and still be riding the chicken. So I decided to make some splash potions of weakness and golden apples, since having access to the nether makes both of those things actually incredibly easy to make now. And my plan is to actually go ahead and zombify and cure all of my villagers, just because their trades will just be incredibly cheap after that. And so now that I've cured my little guy, I moved him to safety, or so I thought, because after returning a little while later, I realized there was an ocelot in my boat, and my villager running around aimlessly. Little did I know that ocelots actually attack chickens, which is awesome, because that means I have to find yet another zombie villager jockey. And then at least it wasn't for nothing, because at least this guy can now be used to get cheap trades. And so instead of storing him somewhere awesome to put him on display, I moved him over to the trading hall, where he would someday grow up and become a clerk, because I really want to start trading some rotten flesh for emeralds. But I decided to finally buy myself a diamond helmet and to finally get full diamond armor for the first time in the game. And so what I'm doing here is actually starting a little project that I'm going to be working on probably for the rest of this series forever, and see just how big I can make it. But I'm going to leave it here because I don't actually finish it, because I don't actually have a lot of blocks in order to make this as expansive as I want. And so for now, all this is going to be is a little teaser and mystery for you guys to figure out someday. And so at this point in time, I need to warn you, because this is the most distressing time of my world so far. And so here my plan is to go to the nether and to loot whatever structure I can in order to get diamonds for an enchanting table, because I really need a new silk touch pickaxe, because unfortunately in the previous episode my silk touch pickaxe was lost. And so my plan was to either get diamonds for an enchanting table or to find a new silk touch pickaxe. Diamonds were unfortunately a little bit more common than finding a brand new silk touch enchanted pickaxe in one of these chests. And so my main goal was obviously just to get diamonds and try to find an enchanting table. And so I went through and I found a bunch of bastion remnants. I wanted to mainly focus on the bastion remnant, the treasure bastion remnants, because those ones are, I don't remember the exact chances, but they're incredibly common to find diamonds in them. And so I wasn't having a lot of luck, because these ones were just like the bastion barracks or whatever you call them, like the housing ones. And so these ones really just mostly had gold and simple stuff like that, like some armor and some other basic tools. These ones aren't super common. I don't even know if you can find diamonds in the bastion barracks, whatever they're called. I don't remember. But here I had to deal with a few piglin brutes, and you'll soon find out that they are the bane of my existence. And after looting one of those barracks, I went and found a bastion treasury, and it was honestly so stressful that I forgot to record most of it and ended up dying. So awesome. I love that so much, and it was incredibly far away from my base, so I had to buy a new pickaxe and run all the way back to the bastion. And on the way back, I found another fortress, and for some reason I forgot to bring food, so I was kind of just living on a prayer here. And so I love just so much bridging across lava in the nether, because I cannot be smashing that crouch button harder. And so I eventually made my way all the way back to the bastion while getting incredibly close to dying, fending off skeletons and everything on 2 hearts and 3 hunger health. And so I had to be incredibly careful not to encounter any piglins with crossbows. And so I wanted to put her up as far away as I could to try to make sure I didn't get too close to any piglins seeing me. And so once I made my way up, I located all of my items that had dropped, and that piglin brute that had killed me before was still alive, unfortunately. So I had to be very, very, very careful by keeping my distance and not letting him get too close to me. And so I built this little wall so I could try to fend him off and heal up my health a little bit. He did deal some damage to me, but luckily he was pretty low on health from my previous counter from him. So I was able to take him out with a fair amount of ease. Unfortunately, I did lose a few things. I think all I mostly lost was just my diamond leggings. And so nothing terrible, nothing not recoverable. So with high hopes, I picked myself up, and I kept looting the bastion and stumbled across a few more piglin brutes, which I just wanted to be safe and just took care of them with all the lava. Instead of trying to get up close and personal, just had to double check, because I really did not want to die again. And of course, ended up not having really anything good in that chest. And so I made my way down to the center of the piglin treasury. I used my lava bucket to make swift work of these piglin brutes. And so after clearing out some of the hazards in this treasury, I found some diamonds and some netherite upgrade templates or whatever they're called, and also just a random diamond spear with fire respect. So that's pretty cool, I guess. But I grabbed all my loot and made my way out of there so I could go find the other chests. And this is where it gets really, really depressing, because I go up here and I start to block off the area so then I wouldn't be attacked by piglin brutes, and lo and behold, Mr. Piglin Brute comes around, knocks me off right above lava. So I make my way back and realize that most of my stuff has been burned in the lava. which is just so awesome. I just love losing everything I work for. And so I try again, and guess what? Mr. Piglin Brute makes a second appearance and executes me. So I make my way back for the third time, and I collect my stuff. Luckily it wasn't that close to lava, so I didn't lose anything that time. But I am so frustrated at this point because I've ran thousands of blocks over and over again, and then I managed to find a few good things in this chest. Nothing crazy. I mean, most of the stuff I had was lost. The diamonds I had was lost. The diamond spear I found was lost, so obviously that was the greatest loss of all. And then I kept going. I found some more chests. I kept looting these bastions. I realized at this point, the best thing I could do is just keep looking for more bastion remnants because I really needed those diamonds. Especially now more than ever because I lost literally everything. And I needed to find more loot in order to get back to a point where I was as comfortable as before I lost all my stuff. And so I find this new bastion remnant, hoping for some more diamonds so that I can call this quits and go home. I go through all the chests, I find a few good things, some golden carrots for food, a few more gold blocks, some arrows I guess, which I don't know why I took those. And in these other chests, I was finding some pretty generic stuff. I took all the bone blocks I could, just so I can get as much bone meal for later. And then I finally made my way down to the actual treasure room. And unfortunately, no diamonds. I did find a netherite, and I got back some leggings, so then I wasn't bare-legged, I guess. And like I said, found some netherite, found another netherite upgrade template. And I just didn't take it for some reason. And so I just moved on, I guess. Completely mindless. And so I made my way up to the second room. Collected all the stuff in there. Which, again, pretty generic loot. And I found myself a little diamond spade. Which I obviously collected because, you know, I've just been rocking the iron shovels this entire time. And then spent like 3 hours looting this chest, trying to find the best things to grab. So I made my way all the way back to the treasury and got me netherite upgrade template, whatever it's called, I don't even know. After some more dilly-dallying, found myself another bastion barrack thing. I don't know what I called it. Found myself another netherite template, which is sick. Looted another double chest for way too long. And found a nice sharpness 5 iron sword, which really comes in handy. Or does it? Made my way up to the chest room up here, and I'm going to be so completely honest. I switched my game mode to peaceful at this point in time because I was so sick of dying and getting attacked by these losers that I just didn't even care anymore. I was honestly, I'm not even going to apologize for it because I was so upset that I couldn't even handle it anymore, that I had to. But this chest over here, nothing great. It did have a mending crossbow, which I totally ended up just staring at for like 5 minutes. Like, I cut a ton of time out of this clip for me to eventually grab it. I swear, sometimes I just kind of zone out at the most random things. And this is awesome because I find Silk Touch Pickaxe, which is entirely what I was trying to go for this entire time. And so I was super excited to finally get a Silk Touch Pickaxe. And so I made my way all the way back to my base with all the spoils of my journey. And so in a roundabout way, I got what I wanted. Unfortunately, I didn't get any diamonds for an enchanting table. But I did get myself a Silk Touch Pickaxe, which again is really what I wanted to go for. And so eventually this baby villager grew up. He turned into a clerk. And I was able to trade get some pretty awesome trades from this guy. Like, I managed to get some ender pearls. I got some redstones, obviously 100% trade, so you know. And then of course I forgot my game was in peaceful, and so when I got back I realized my zombie despawned. And so obviously had to get myself a new zombie, which I naturally named Subscribe, which you should totally do. But even though it was a little bit of a distressing episode, we did get a lot done. We got our super efficient mob farm up and running, as you can clearly see. And after our many hours of nether looting, we did get ourselves our Silk Touch Pickaxe, which is what the whole goal was in the first place. Unfortunately, this was a little bit of a sporadic episode, but I do have a full-time job, so it makes recording kind of hard sometimes. But hopefully you all enjoyed this episode. I hope you all have a great week this week. Remember to subscribe and comment below your name so I can add you to the wall for next episode. But with that, I will see you all later.